Yo, what is going on, guys? This is the 4th Gen Gamer here, and of course, not alone today. We are joined by the Pokemon League, the Indigo Plateau. Dun dun dun. Wait, who's the champion?
Not me.
Yeah, me neither.
No,
I give it
it's
the
gotta
champion.
be Dave.
It's like,
It's gotta be Dave. Come on, man.
You know what? I'll give it to Dave. He has a team that's pretty sweet. Dave's pretty sweet. He's the champion out here.
y'all too kind. Y'all too kind. We're all champions collectively. There we go.
I like it.
Welcome in, everyone, to another session of the Indigo Plateau podcast. This is our third return, our third session of this. If you guys remember, during the month of March, we did a podcast on the state of the Pokemon community. In the month of April, we did a podcast on Pokemon Sword and Shield. And today, for the month of May, we are going to be talking about something very important. We're going to be talking about burnout. We're going to be talking about creative burnout and how to overcome it. This is something that I feel like not a lot of people talk about, and I think is really important for a lot of reasons. So with that being said, I'm going to quickly introduce everyone, and then we're going to more in-depth introduce everyone. So I'm Joshua, the 4th Gen Gamer. I am joined by Steph.
StephOfAnime. Hi, I thought you were saying my name, so don't mind that awkward pause. Hi, I'm Steph. Hello, hi, friends.
We are joined by Nadychan.
Hi, guys.
We are joined by Hello, guys.
Hello,
What is up?
guys. What is up? This is GalacticElliot. What's up, guys? How you doing?
And then the one, the only, DataDave.
Hey, everybody. Hope you all are well.
So this is, like I said, the Indigo Plateau podcast. This is hosted by the Elite Four. If you guys do not know what the Elite Four is, exclamation point E4 in the chat. The Elite Four is the Pokemon stream team. We have a lot of awesome people. Our goal as a Twitch team is to come together and make some really awesome content, to make new friends, to share some awesome ideas with you guys, and just overall have a good time, have fun. And please, guys, click on that link, twitch.tv/team/elite4. We have so many amazing people on this team, and we love all of them so dearly. So with that being said, guys, if you have any questions about the Elite Four or anything, it's all on that link and everything. And we all love Pokemon. We all love Pokemon content, and that's what we're all here for right now. So this is our first topic that's sort of not fully Pokemon related. This is like kind of general content related, and we want to do a lot of that kind of stuff with this podcast as we go forward. But before we jump into anything specific, I want everyone here to introduce yourself a little bit in depth. What do you do? What do you do here on the internet? What kind of stuff do you do? So, you know, let's start with one of my favorite people here. Not my favorite though, Mr. GalacticElliot.
Darn it. Well, I do lots of variety of Pokemon. Overall, I love Pokemon as a collective group of things. Like, I love all the Pokemon games, Mystery Dungeon. I love just everything. I'm going to be playing Ranger soon. But overall, the main thing that I'm doing right now on my channel is the thing called Journey for the Living Dex. It's where I basically play through every single generation of Pokemon games, and I try to catch them all in every single game. It's something that I wanted to do as a kid, and I wasn't able to because we couldn't transfer Pokemon from Pokemon Gen 2 to Pokemon Gen 3. Now you can through, Pokebank, so it's pretty awesome. And yeah, I also do Wonder Trade, Shiny Hunting. I like to do Nuzlocke challenges. I like to do Wi-Fi battles and leagues. I like to do just so many different types of things within the Pokemon realm, and I want to cover everything, man. It's one of my favorite franchises, and the community is so great, man. Like, I know there are some things that people may think are, not the best in the community. I love this community very much. I love the Elite Four. I love everybody in the chat. You guys are awesome. And yeah, I can't wait for summer. I can't wait for Sword and Shield. I can't wait for everything, man.
Yes. Something I forgot before we go forward, I want to remind chat, if this is your first time watching this podcast, just a disclaimer that since we want to keep things on topic and we don't want to get distracted too much, we won't be talking too much out loud with you guys in the chat. Some of us may be typing to you in chat, so keep an eye on us if you want to @us, and we can maybe type a reply to you. But if you want to talk to us, this is the best way to do it right now. You can tweet us questions, and if you ever forget this, it's in the upper right-hand corner of this video. You can tweet us questions @Elite4TV and use the hashtag IP. Yeah, look at Elliot.
Oh my God, Elliot was in the perfect spot.
Just point up the entire time. Just point up the entire time.
Yes.
So ask us some questions if you want. If you're interested, go ahead and do that. Just know that we're not ignoring you. Podcast is sort of like a weird format in that sense with chat. With that being said, let's go clockwise. Natty.
Hi guys,
What up, fam?
I'm Natty. I started off as a full-time Pokemon caster on Twitch. Now I'm a little bit more variety, but I absolutely still love Pokemon. As far as Pokemon content, I am currently just over 2,000 hordes trying to get a shiny friggin' Cubchoo of all
Holy.
things. 35%. It does
Oh
not
my
exist.
god.
One day.
Very nice. Okay. I'm going to explain what I do as I fix a quick thing. If you guys don't know who I am, well, hi. I am Josh, or the 4th Gen Gamer. I do lots of Pokemon content, some speedrun stuff, and I love Pokemon. I love innovating Pokemon. I like making new Pokemon content and just bringing everyone together. I like making new friends, and you know, the vision that I have with my content is really the vision with the team, and that's really all I have to say. I'm wearing my Cutthroat Pokemon shirt. Stay savage, my friends.
Woo woo!
Oh, Steph, what do you do?
Hi! So I am a Pokemon and Nintendo variety streamer, but I'll also say I've been dipping into a couple of other games like Persona 5.
She tried her first speedrun game.
I did try my first Pokemon speedrun yesterday, and that was wild. I tried to speedrun Pokemon X. That was a ton of fun. But yeah, I love all Nintendo things. I love Pokemon. I love, you know, JRPGs, all that jazz. So yeah, that's pretty much all it is for me, is I just like to hang out, have fun, make friends, the whole 9 yards. So yeah.
And last, but certainly not least,
The
one and
champion.
only, DataDave.
Alright. Hey everybody, I'm DataDave. I stream a lot of Pokemon, do a lot of shiny hunting. I'm known as the notorious Litten Hunter. We're at 14,000.5 sorry set. So we're working on that.
Oh, that is
One day.
wild.
Yeah. We
Wild.
started it Sun and Moon, so it's like, yeah, maybe one day. We committed too much. And other than that, I do a bit of variety. Recently, I've also been delving into Final Fantasy 14. That's my new MMO addiction, so I've been loving that. And League of Legends, so you know, we gonna be the positivity in that. That's gonna be cool. Hopefully. But other than that, yeah, just stream every day, and it's been fun. And yeah.
Excellent. We have an awesome squad of people today, and with that being said, guys, make sure you go and follow everyone. I don't know if we have any mods in chat. If anyone can just shout everyone out, go follow everyone on Twitch. They all do lots of streams, as you heard. So go and follow them. If not, I'll throw some shout outs in the chat in a minute. But with that being said, oh, thank you, Rich. Go and follow everyone, guys, if you're not already. So I want to start things out pretty straight up. So if we were to go around the round table here, what would we say our personal definition is of burnout? Like, if someone didn't know, if someone in chat, or if your mom came to you and was like, what is burnout? What would you tell them? Does anyone antsy to answer this, or should I pick someone random? Volunteer?
I'll go first. I'm feeling ready. I'm feeling ready to talk about this topic. So, for me, when I think of burnout, I think of being very worn down. It's not necessarily like physically either. It's either you're mentally or you're physically just very worn down from a lot of either like monotonous work or just been like, you know, going on the same path for a really, really long time. It's like you're just worn out. That's how I describe it.
Worn out. So that seems to be the bottom line of that.
Yeah.
Dave, what would you say?
I agree with that. It's just kind of when you like, I'm doing this again, or you know, you're not as excited as you would be to do a task, but at the same time, maybe feeling, I guess, obligated to do it, or I got to do this again, but I have to get this done, you know, versus like, I'm enjoying this or having fun. So it's just when you're worn down, you're not in the headspace to really enjoy what you're doing.
Right. Elliot.
Yeah, the general consensus is basically like, you know, it's just something that you kind of have to get done, and you're worn down, you're tired, you're not really as into it as you typically would be, and you know, that's basically how it is with burnout. Like, if you're doing the same thing for a long time and nothing new is coming out of it, and you know, you're not really getting anywhere too far, and you just feel like, you know, you're like kind of plateauing, if you will. That's a big, I guess, form of burnout that I can see.
Natty.
So I think I would add on that like it burnout's basically just when you hit that sort of emotional, physical, mental point of exhaustion with something. And I think with Twitch it kind of comes in two different forms. It can either be just like a specific game related thing, or it can be like a streaming in general related thing. Like there's definitely different forms of burnout. But I think that it also leaves you feeling really like helpless and hopeless, and like at the same time it can make you feel cynical and resentful for what you're trying to do. So I think that would be like my best definition of burnout.
Yeah, I agree with all of these. I feel like burnout has a lot of different components, and I think that for myself, it just comes down to that lack of motivation. You know, when you do the same thing over and over and over again, and you find yourself just hitting like, you know, a brick wall. It's almost like, you know, it's just harder to climb that next step. And you kind of need to hit that reset button in some way, and you don't know how to do it. It's like, you know, when someone makes you do the same thing over and over and over again, or I see this a lot with like artists. It's like you try and still be creative, and you know, you just hit this wall. I think that's a big part of burnout. It's this wall that you feel like you can't pass.
Yeah, it's like artist block and whatnot. You know, they have their own form of burnout, if you will. You know,
Exactly.
it's how it is.
Yeah. So, either way, with that being said, you know, before we delve into more like what causes burnout specifically, and maybe like how can you tackle this, I want to go around and ask everyone, you know, have you experienced burnout within content creation? Without going too crazy in depth, like how often does it happen as a creator? How long does it last? You know, like what are sort of like the symptoms, and like how long does this last? You know, I'm gonna go to Elliot. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I've been doing this for a very long time. I've been doing YouTube for over like a decade at this point. It's crazy. I've definitely experienced it a lot. These days, I don't experience it as much because I have Twitch and YouTube, so like it's kind of harder to get burnt out whenever you have two different things. But at the same exact time, it's kind of easier to, because you're putting out so much time and so much effort and so much energy. And whenever you play the same game, it can get a little tiring. But I love Pokemon, and it gets a little hard for me to get burnt out because I try to do so many different things within the realm of Pokemon. So it happens for people more often than probably me, but it definitely happens probably once a year for a lot of people at the very least.
So I would say for myself, I actually experienced it a lot. I think a lot of people had this sort of case last year, at the beginning of the year, when it came to shiny hunting. And I love shiny hunting. I think that it's great and it has a purpose. The way that I have always described shiny hunting is that it is an IRL stream or a just chatting stream with some Pokemon in the background. And there's nothing wrong with that. You get to chill out, you get to hang, you get to talk, and that's awesome. But sometimes you can't do an IRL stream every day, you know? And for some people, they can, and that's great, and more respect to you, and that's great. But personally, that caused me to get really burnt out. And honestly, when I discovered speedrunning, that sort of hooked in my I need to be doing something every second sort of tick. That definitely helped me a lot, but that was something that I definitely experienced. And I've also experienced it to a lesser degree with graphic design as well. Some of that artist's block sort of burnout, you know? So, Dave, what about you?
Yeah, I definitely have done it before. I think for me, it's happened more so when, like I was talking a little bit about obligation earlier. Like I would start a playthrough and it would take a long time. And it's just, you'd be like, this is taking a while. I don't know if I want to do this today. So I've definitely done that and experienced it. I haven't as much because these days, let's say I'm not feeling a playthrough or something like that, then I'll just switch games, like, you know, to kind of avoid that. And I'll go back to it one day. I might. Well, ideally, but if not, you know, it's sometimes like, you know, like, okay, I want to get this task done. For me personally, it's better to switch, because if I force through it, then I'll start feeling burnout.
All right, Natty.
Hi.
You can go next.
I've definitely experienced burnout. For me, I haven't experienced like sort of a burnout towards Twitch in general, just specifically Pokemon content. I did Pokemon for 2.5 years nonstop. And then January of this year, I went to boot up my capture card and I was like, nope, I can't. I'm not having fun. So I took a month off from Pokemon where I didn't touch it at all. Like, I did no Pokemon streams for a month, and then even now I can come back to it and I can do a couple streams of it, but I need to have that variety in there, or I just feel burnt out on it again because there is nothing new to it. Like, there's been 1,001 ideas out there, but it's still can only do so much.
Stefo!
It's me! So I would say, for me, I've definitely experienced burnout, but not necessarily straight from the content itself. I think with me, burnout comes from taking a lot of different projects at once, and since content creation is such a big part of my life, it gets tangled in with a lot of IRL. So if I'm managing school or side work or all this stuff with content creation, I think my burnout comes from just the stress of taking so much, and then that stress kind of seeps into everything else I'm doing. So all of a sudden, I don't feel as motivated to stream anymore because I feel bad that I'm prioritizing stream over my schoolwork, or I'm prioritizing my work over stream, or etc. So, and I just start feeling like really stressed out and that I can't do it, and then I'll cancel a stream all of a sudden, and you know, I won't feel so great. So it does happen every so often. I think time management is usually the big key that, you know, stresses me out, and what I know I need to work on to like avoid burnout, and have, you know, little practices that I've been doing to, you know, make sure that I don't get burned out and time manage properly. But yeah, it definitely happens. How often? I would say during the most stressful times of the year. So I would say like usually like December peak times, then like the spring, like April was my final season. I know a lot of people are going into final season right now, so if you're watching this, you got this. Let us give you guys some good tips.
Oh my god, really?
Yeah. Oh
wow.
Yeah, you got finals going on
I'm
right
in
now.
final
Anybody
season.
who's got finals going on, you got this. This is stressful times. Stressful times for you guys.
We believe in you.
So yeah.
So, this is moving on, shifting gears a little bit. This is a question that's actually really interesting, and you know, might have to take a second and think about it. Have you ever experienced burnout outside of content creation? Like maybe with school, or with like art, or just like occupational work, or whatever it may have you. And if so, are there differences or similarities between that burnout and like content burnout? Like, what are the common themes that you find? Because if we can find that, then it's easier to not only find solutions, but to prevent these things from happening as well. So, is anyone jumping out of their boots? Anyone can think of something that they've experienced outside of content with burnout?
Sure, I'll take a stab at it.
Yeah.
So definitely with school, because you all know I'm in graduate school. For those that don't know, I've been powering through a computer science degree. And you know, the burnout of school is real. Like there's been times saying like, hey, I don't want to do this, or maybe I'll come back every so often in school. But the main thing is, it's like, I think the difference between content creation and schoolwork is like, yeah, I'm going to school, but I don't really get to choose my work. With content creation, since I'm primarily on Twitch, I can choose what I stream, you know, like I can be like, hey, let's play League of Legends all day today for 10 hours, you know, not that extreme, but the fact that I have a hand in what I want to do. But with school, yeah, you just got to do it, you know?
Your hand is forced.
Exactly. So I'd say like the main difference is you have more freedom in what you want to do and what content you want to provide. But school, it's like, yeah, this is due tomorrow. It's like, oh, okay.
That's really, I never thought about that before, and I think that's a really interesting point. Like, I feel like that just like changed my life in a weird way. Like, I had like a weird epiphany, because that's so true. Like, you like, I feel like, yeah, your strategies need to be different because one is more in your control and like all like you, and then one's not. That is so interesting. Thank you. Wow.
Yes, same. Man, you know, I agree with that so much. And, you know, it doesn't happen like every semester for me, but like, man, and I'm sure that there are a lot of people out there that can relate, but like, you can have a perfect semester and just there's that one class, that one professor that gives you ridiculous assignments, has no idea what they're teaching, and that burns you out because you stay up until 4 a.m. 5 nights in a row trying to do system administration homework. I'm talking to you, professor that's watching this. He's not watching this. The class is still going, so I shouldn't say anything too harsh. But definitely school, I think, is a big one. Now, I'm really interested. Has anyone felt burnout with anything outside of school? Does anyone recall an experience? Short-term, long-term?
Well, for me, it is still content driven, but it's a different type of content. So for those that did not know, before I did Pokemon as like my main thing, I used to be a speedrunner, and I speedran Super Mario 64 or Super Mario World. More so, Super Mario 64. I would play that game every freaking day because I wanted to get better at the game. And it wouldn't just be for content. It would be like my personal goal. I wanted to one day try to just get world record in like anything I can get world record in. I tried my best to get the best time in every single level. Like I would play the game I play the game every second. I come home from school, I would go on and I would just turn on the game. If I was in a Skype call back then, I would have the game on in the background. If I was watching a video, I'd be playing the game. Like I would play Mario 64 at least 10 hours a day. I was really, really serious about playing it. And over time, I got super burnt out. And I was like, I don't even want to look at this game anymore. So it's a different type of burnout from like content / school. It's kind of just a burnout from a game. And that can happen a lot for people that are competitive, you know, people that used to play Call of Duty or Halo or, you know, Counter-Strike, whatever the game that they played was, you know, you can get burnt out from playing hours and hours on end, trying to be the best player or trying to get the most achievements or whatever you're trying to do in that game, you know? It's different. That's the burnout compared to just content. So Mario 64, whenever I speedran, it was definitely a case of burnout for me because I played it so much and I wasn't really finding the results that I had kind of expected. And I just ended up quitting it over time, which, you know, it sucks, but it led me to where I am today. So it's pretty awesome, actually.
Right on.
I think for me, I guess you could say I got dealt life's burnout card. For you guys who don't know, I was diagnosed with clinical depression in 2015. So for me, it's always really, really interesting trying to balance between what is me saying, okay, I'm just having a bad day versus I'm having a burnout. And then a couple months ago, it actually kind of met in this beautiful, beautiful ball of bad where it was like, I'm burnt out of being depressed because I'm burnt out. So that was fun. Took a lot to get through it, but I can definitely say that like I've experienced sort of like what I guess you could say I got burnt out on life. Like everything just kind of got together and it was not fun.
Right. So, you know, something that I want to draw from all this is that as you guys are watching, you know, we're talking about a lot of this through the realm of content creation, but, you know, we're going to talk about things, especially in a minute, that are applicable to all sorts of things in life, whether it's just life in general, whether it's if you are doing art, if you're doing a club, if you're doing this or that, if you're in a leadership position, if you are a content creator. You know, there are ways that you can try and prevent these things from happening or minimize the impact or whatever it may be. We're going to talk about that. And I just want you guys to know that that's really important to us. Like, we're not just talking to, you know, other people that make content, but also to you guys watching, because we all go through these things. We all, you know, our passion is making content, but your passion may be painting. Your passion may be this or that. It may be playing sports, and you could get burnt out from anything. You get burnt out. So many people get burnt out from like just traditional occupational work, and it's really important to take care of yourselves and remember that. So we're here for you, and this is not just our podcast, it's everyone's podcast.
Yeah.
So with that, I'm gonna give you guys the reminder, if you guys have any questions, tweet them at us. In the upper right hand corner you can see @Elite4TV. Ask us questions if you do have any. Yeah, with that being said, this was a question I want to do this very specifically. If you could just say very quickly, like in 1 or 2 words, maybe like a brief sentence, what do you think is the biggest cause of burnout? I say,
I'll chime in on that. Okay.
Yeah, you go first. I'll go next.
I was about to say maybe obligation.
Obligation.
Feeling obligated.
That's actually really good. I almost want to like write these down or something. This is good. I say my word would be overworking. I think overworking is, or like overloading is huge. Steph?
I would also add like monotony to it when you don't feel any sort of spice with what you're doing anymore. So that's my word of choice.
Natty. Sorry.
Time management.
Mm.
I'm gonna be boring and say redundancy.
Mhm.
So, as you know, we can see just from this quick little exercise. I feel like I'm like a counselor or something. You know, burnout is not simple. Burnout is not caused by just one thing. It's caused by a lot of things. And, you know, when you get this perfect storm of if you are overworking, if it's also monotonous, if you also feel obligated by yourself or someone else, if you have all of these factors that come in, you could have a perfect storm for a really bad session of burnout. And you can feel like you're being dragged in the dirt by your own work. And that is a terrible feeling. So with that, why does everyone here think that burnout happens to content creators specifically? You know, because there are specific reasons why it happens to artists. There's specific reasons why it happens to, you know, people in HR and whatever. What do we think are some specific causes for content creators? I have a good answer, but does anyone wanna?
I think
I'll
Natty wants to
go.
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 Yeah.
I think
Go
it's
ahead.
because content creators don't take a break. We don't. So when you think about like if you were to work a 9-to-5 job, you get off that job at 5 o'clock, you go home, you don't think about your job anymore. But with content creators, we stop our stream and then we might be doing YouTube or we're on Twitter or we're on Discord. And if we're not on Discord, we're like, okay, we need to interact with our community more. If we're not doing that, we're like, okay, well, I haven't tweeted something or Instagram or this or that. Like content creators don't break.
Right.
And it's just the truth. We don't take a break.
They want to go, or if not, I got one.
You can go.
Go for it.
All right. If you guys hear the Homer Simpson in the background, that's my alert. It's not on the screen though. Forgot to mute that. So I would say, and this really connects with what Dave said. I didn't think about this. Obligation. Content creators really put an obligation on themselves because there's a pressure with creating content. You know, like it sucks, but like if you disappear off the face of the internet for like 3 months, like you don't know how many people are gonna come back and remember you and whatever. Like there's this fear as a content creator. It's like all of your work can just disappear, you know. And how plausible is that fear? You know, some of it's real, some of it's maybe, you know, not as much. And it's just, you know, as a content creator, like you scare yourself sometimes. You know, like I get scared if I don't stream for a week. I think a lot of us do, you know. And I feel like that is a big cause, is us. We're, you know, and that is not necessarily just us specifically, but that's just how the system is. And that's content creation for you. Does anyone else have?
I think I see something really interesting from the chat. Gen Life is saying that transitioning a hobby into a job typically affects people really hard. And I think that's a really interesting point because I think it's true. When you have a hobby, initially that is your way to counteract burnout from other things, from work, from school, whatever other things that are stressing you out and affecting you. You have your hobbies. That's one of your strategies, right? To, you know, overcome. We're going to talk more about it in a little bit, but one of your strategies are hobbies. But when you turn your hobby into a job, you then have to kind of think about
find new hobbies.
You have to find a new hobby,
Yeah,
and that
that's
can be
hard.
really hard for people where they made their most passionate thing now their work. And there's pros and cons to that. Of course, people wouldn't be content creators if it wasn't worth it in a lot of ways. But I think part of the, you know, taking care of your mental health is realizing, wait, I need to have another outlet for when things get really stressful to detach a little bit and to, you know, refocus myself. And I think that's a really interesting point. So that was something I wanted to touch on.
Does anyone else have something on that?
To hop in on that, especially when it becomes a job, we get so used to doing what works. You know what I mean? Because it's like, hey, I've been playing this game and everything is great. And then when it's your job, it's like, all right, there may be more views, interaction, things of that nature. So you just kind of do that and you just keep doing it and doing it and doing it, you know? And it's like you really don't take that time to kind of say, hey, let me try something else. But while it's working, you just keep going after that.
Yeah,
and
there's
that's
a risk, like, to trying something else.
Right.
You know, like, I mean, no shade to the game. You know, I could become a Fortnite streamer today. I don't play it. But it's like, that wouldn't really wouldn't work for me per se. But maybe if I do my main game or this other game would work better for me. So it's like I wouldn't take that risk to play that game.
Right.
Even though I don't play shooters, but just to hop on that.
Totally. So, everyone has something here. Are there any telltale signs that burnout is starting to develop within yourself? This could be content or not content. Is there something that you could tell as before it gets to its worst, when you can start to be like, okay, wait, I can fix this before it gets bad? Are there any like signs that you've realized either in yourself or just in other people when you see them about to jump down a rabbit hole?
I'd say for me is when I feel like I gotta do this today, or like that what we mentioned obligated earlier. It's like, all right, let's get through this today versus like, hey, if we're talking content creation, it's like, hey, we're about to play this game and have a great stream today. It's like that different going into it mindset of saying like, hey, am I ready to do this, or like, am I about to have fun today?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the way that I look at it, actually, the way that you can possibly overcome it is by taking a day off. We try our best to consistently and constantly make content. It's always on our mind, like Natty mentioned. It's always something that we have to get through. And whenever we're done making our stream, we're still thinking about the stream. We're still thinking about the videos. We're still thinking about how we can improve. We're still thinking about quality, making our panels look nice, making our banners look good, making our layouts. It's always on our mind. It's always something that we're doing. Taking a day off, literally taking a mental day off from everything. Maybe just going outside, not touching social media, not touching anything for one day. It can really, really make a difference in like just your mental health, man. Like mental health is important, and you need to just take a day off sometimes and just recharge. And sometimes we stress about doing that. Sometimes we are taking the day off and then we're still doing things as we're taking the day off because we literally can't get off of this. We can't get off of social media. We can't get off of, growing as a content creator, because there's always something. There's always something like, whenever we're on Twitter trying to make the like connections, we're trying to make our outreach, and we're always trying to grow our content one way or another, even whenever we don't even realize it. Sometimes just taking a day off is something that we need to do and should not be frowned upon to do in general.
Totally. So that goes definitely into like working through this and building some strategies. And I feel like that's probably like the most important part of this, because like, with this kind of an issue, we got to work together, build each other up, and give each other ideas, and you guys watching as well. Now, before that, we have the Indigo Plateau podcast tradition, which is to get our thumbnail face to make my life easier for YouTube. So, ladies and gentlemen, do you guys have any ideas of what face you want to make? We're gonna do like a 3, 2, 1 countdown. We're gonna do a screenshot. I'll take care of everything. So, Elliot, you look like you're sick.
I love it.
Everyone laughing at Elliot. Everyone points at Elliot.
No!
Oh
for
my
me,
God.
he's above me, so I'd be like,
All right. So Dave, if you want, you can point. Elliot, you can. Elliot, I'll make you really big on the thumbnail. I'll make you really big.
Oh my God.
All right. Do you want to?
What?
Please frame.
Good.
Yay!
Oh my God.
Oh, that's an amazing. Wow.
That is
I'm
hilarious.
gonna if you guys want it, I will put it in the chat. You will see this on YouTube at some point. Here you go, everyone. That
I
is
kinda want
our
it.
screenshot of the
Wow.
day.
That's actually
Grab
a
it for
beautiful
your
screenshot.
memes.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's so good.
Yo, Dave's got the green screen. We can make some beautiful memes with that.
oh God, I didn't put my green screen
I'm just saying. I'm gonna make
It's like, whoops.
I'm gonna make Elliot humongous, and I'm gonna make everyone like looking at him.
We
I
can put
love
my
it.
man. We can just put like a ton of horses behind Dave.
Oh my
Just be like,
God.
I got the horses in the back.
Oh my goodness. So that is great. That is a great tradition that we have.
I know.
That's what you get when you have a YouTuber that's hosting it. So also I do want to give the shout out. This remix playing in the background is a lo-fi mega mix from Almighty Arceus, and actually one of the tunes in here, I believe, is by JXC in chat.
Oh, snap.
JXC,
That's cool.
poppin', great remixes, check him out. But thank you to Almighty Arceus for supplying the tunes. He really killed it with this mega mix. It has almost like 100,000 views now. It's phenomenal. Check it out. Pokemon stuff. So yeah, this is going to be our final topic, but it is a big one, and it is working through burnout. And Elliot kind of dipped his toes into that. You know, how do we get past this? You know, and I do want to just make this note just one more time. If you're watching this and you're not a content creator, this can still apply to you. It's still, I think it does. It applies to everyone, even if you haven't felt burnout or if you haven't felt it for a long time.
And some people don't even realize that what they're going through is burnout. And that's part of the reason we have this podcast, is to be like, like it's normal to feel really tired of what you're doing or feeling really stressed and overwhelmed. Like these are normal feelings, and we're talking about it so that we can talk about ways to move past it and things like that.
Yeah. So if everyone here, Dave, you want to talk?
Yeah, I was like,
go.
I just wanted to do the no, let you go first. Let you go first.
No,
I wanted
go.
to say, all right. Well, ways of working through burnout, just in my opinion, because I was thinking about this one. I want to start outside of content creation because I'm pretty sure most of us school. You know, I think one of the best ways to work through burnout in school, and this won't work for every class, is trying to get creative with what you have. You know, like this semester, I was like, oh man, I got 2 hard classes, high level, right? One was data visualization. Our final project, we have to visualize data. So we had to find data sets online, and most of them were like government, et cetera, et cetera. For me, I was like, I wonder if I could finesse this to be about Twitch, you know? So I looked up Twitch Tracker and all these other websites, brought it to the teacher early on. He said it was okay. And like, that was the most fun project. You know, I actually enjoyed it. I got creative. I got 100. So that's, you know, that shows a little bit of work ethic. It's like, I think the number one ways to work through burnout, both through content creation, school, and other things, is how creative can you get with it? Because the more control you have over it, or control of what you can do, the more you're willing to actually do it. Because, you know, schoolwork, it wasn't fun, but it was a fun topic, so I knocked it out early.
That is probably the most valuable piece of advice I think we're going to get this whole podcast. That is, you know, because now that I think about that, I feel like that applies to so many things. Take control of what you're doing and be creative. That is incredible. Wow, that was.
I actually,
yeah,
I had a very similar experience, Dave, actually, with one of my school projects, and I do agree this can go in with content or anything else. Is I had a class where I had to digitize Beowulf in some way, and at first I was like, oh god, what the heck do I do? But then I decided, I wonder, and I went to my professor as well, could I like create like a Twitch accessible version of Beowulf, have my chat involved, and, you know, basically have my chat involved with a final project that I had to do for school. And it turned out to be, again, the most passionate project I was ever involved with. Something where I was like, I'm not an English major. Like, you know, the Beowulf story itself wasn't what captivated me, but it was that creative process of mixing something I really loved with something that I wasn't as familiar with that just became really, really awesome. And I think, you know, that goes with anything. If you're feeling monotonous or you're feeling like something's, you know, it's not grabbing your attention, find something that will grab your attention. How can you mix this around? And like, you know, what are some of the things that you like? What's something you're interested in? Even if it's just like a YouTube video that you're series you're watching, it's like, what do you like about that? And how can you put that into what you're doing? You know, things like that.
Right. And I'm just gonna build off of that. Like, as far as content goes, like, I am, as everyone knows, I'm such a big believer in Pokemon and making Pokemon work in so many different ways, not only with your content, but making it work with yourself. And I think there are so many things you can do with Pokemon. I think that's just amazing. You know, take control of your content and do something that will make you happy. You know, just for example, I kind of launched like a new thing I want to do every couple months with Mystic. If you guys saw, a solo run race. He did solo runs and I do kind of speed runs a little bit. So it's like, all right, let's put them together. Let's do a solo run race. You know, play through Diamond and Pearl, you know, race with Dialga and Palkia and do it up, you know? And I feel like that can be applied to any form of content, but like, do things that will make it more interesting for you, you know? And that goes, like I said, with anything. Shake it up a little bit, just with content, you know, do something blindfolded, you know, get a pie in the face, race your friends.
Even with study habits, you know, maybe like instead of doing just typical flashcards, like get your friend to do some sort of like study technique with you or something that's just different than the normal.
Right, exactly.
Steph, it's funny you bring up flashcards because I'm like consulting my notes right now.
I mean, hey, if the flashcards work, then you don't have to do anything. But I know for me, sometimes I don't, like, just trying to make flashcards, I just don't do it. You know what I mean? Because like if I'm overstressed or something, so it's like find something that's gonna like break you out of
Find what works for
the
you,
stress.
and it doesn't feel like you have to do something.
So for me, I wrote down two things. I wrote down one that is very much like centered around content creation, and then one that's more general. For content creation, I said don't lock yourself into one thing, even if it's what's bringing you the most success, because I feel like that will then prolong how long you will be able to enjoy that thing. Like for me, I locked myself into Pokemon for many, 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 many years, and then I burnt out on it. And I feel like if I would have just been like, hey, even though I don't feel like playing Pokemon today, maybe I should do something else. If I would have actually done something else, I feel like the burnout would have come way later than it did. For non-content creation, I said time management. Like you need to, and this is hilarious coming from me because I don't sleep, but like manage your time. Like say like, hey, I'm going to go to bed at 10 p.m. Even if I'm having a lot of fun doing what I'm doing right now, I'm going to go to bed at 10 p.m. and I'm going to get my 8 hours. Or like tomorrow, I'm going to make sure I put aside 2 hours so that I can play games with my friends and then do my homework. Like you have to manage your time, because if you continually just do the things that make you happy, the things that make you unhappy are going to like hit you that much harder.
Right.
Totally.
Yeah, and to kind of branch off of just like what all of you guys have been talking about, like mainly Dave and Josh and whatnot, like innovation, being creative and whatnot, like it's really, really, really important to change things up a little bit, and that's what can really make the content a lot more fun. Many years ago, like I said, I've been doing YouTube for a very long time. Back in like 2012, whenever I first made GalacticElliot, it's, I've had many channels before GalacticElliot. This is the channel that actually was going to be based off of just casual playthroughs before I thought I was even going to do Pokemon. And the reason why I do Pokemon to this day still is because, as like my main thing, is because myself and my friend Robert, we talk every day back then. He's like one of my best friends. I love him to pieces. He and I would play Pokemon games on Skype. We'd screen share as we play, and we just go from there. And we would just play through like ROM hacks. We'd play through like regular games, and then we stumbled upon a randomizer back then. And back then, nobody knew about randomizers, and not many people really knew about Nuzlocke. So then me and Robert thought, why don't we, while we're doing this on Skype anyways, do a series on YouTube where we do a Pokemon Emerald randomizer Nuzlocke co-op. Back then, co-ops weren't really huge. Not many people did them. Back then, nobody knew about randomizers, and Nuzlocks weren't really done. Why not fuse everything together into one big thing? Nowadays, this is known very, very, very heavily, and this is kind of redundant. Everyone does randomizers, everyone knows co-ops. Back then, nobody did it, and I was kind of the first one to do it. I don't want to say, oh, I created it, because I didn't make the randomizer, but I was the first person to kind of put everything together in one. And I'm happy that I kind of, I guess, led that, whole entire thing to become what it is today, because I've had people like, Callum, back then he did a lot of co-ops. He even told me one time, he was like, hey man, if it weren't for you, I don't know if I would be doing all these co-ops. I don't know if I would be where I am. And like, that really hit me hard, because like, if you see where Callum is, if you see where these other content creators are to this day, it's really cool to see where everyone is. And it's kind of cool that I was the person to kind of, build that nice little creative thing, just because I was feeling burnt out on doing other content and doing regular playthroughs. I wanted to do something different. And it made me really, really, really inspired and really happy, because that's what built my channel. And I still want to do that to this day, just make different stuff and overall have fun and not feel burnt out off of doing the same thing over and over,
I don't know who this quote is from, but be the change that you want to see in the world. Was that like JFK or something?
I don't know, but that's
something
nice quote.
Historical.
Be the change that you want to see in the world. I think that's really important, and that's like a good motivator in a way. So I want to touch on this because this is going to be like one of my sort of responses. Time management is humongous, because that helps relieve Gandhi. There we go. Time management can reduce the stress that you associate with it a lot, and take away that obligation in a way. And just a few strategies that I've found, because I'm a time management god with the amount of stuff that I do, Twitch, YouTube, school, whatever. Take care of yourself. Make checklists of things that you need to get done. so you don't like forget about things, and you'll feel accomplished when you knock things off on that checklist. I'm modest. Thanks, Elliot. Make a checklist. Use a calendar app. Use like Google Calendar. Use iPhone reminders. And I would say don't put too much on your plate, but I do not follow that at all. But try not to. And some of these things may not work for you. The checklist thing might not work. The Google Calendar thing might not work. But find what works for you, and make sure that you organize yourself. You gotta. It's like when you clean your room and you organize your cabinets. You gotta do that in your brain too. Sometimes you gotta sort out what do you have to do, what do you want to do, and how are you gonna do that? Because if you don't have a game plan, then you're gonna get that burnout effect so much easier.
A clean room is a clean mind. That's what they say.
Yeah, my room is a disaster right now. So my mind.
Organization is important.
So either way, I feel like we kind of talked about this in a way already. I don't know if anyone has anything to add to this, but what can you do to motivate yourself when you start to feel it develop, that burnout? I feel like we kind of talked about that.
I have something just to say. When you start to feel these symptoms, I think going back to your roots, remembering like, why are you doing content creation in the first place, and what are the things that you appreciate about what you do? Like just a nice pro checklist of what you appreciate and what you like, I feel like can really start to pull you out, or again, get you thinking about like the good things that you've got going for you rather than dwelling on. It's really hard. I feel like negative things can dwell in your mind a lot longer than the positive ones. So I think taking the time to force remembering what are these good things, because a lot of the negative things can triumph. I think that's a big one is, write it down. Just don't try in your mind to just think of it, but like write down, hey, what are all the things I appreciate?
That helped me one time. Steph told me to do that. Write it down. Put it somewhere. Remind yourself that consciously.
Why did you start it all? Yeah, I love that.
Okay.
I'd say.
No, go ahead.
I'd say since we already hit like the innovation, be innovative in doing it tip, I guess another idea would be just find something different or new to like kind of counteract that. Like. I'll just throw a random hypothetical. I don't play golf, but like I'll be like, what if I just went golfing and say, hey, do I like this? Or picked up a sport? Like, let's say hypothetically I was tired of content creation. Can I find something at home or outside to kind of have fun at? So like I'll enjoy this and say, hey, after content creation today, I'll do this. Hypothetically. So maybe trying new things, being willing to, and just I think that's the best way to counteract school. Because at school you have to get this work done. So have something that you look forward to after the fact, or something new. Because if you just have school, the only school, you're just going to be bored or burnt out.
Yeah,
I like that. Giving yourself, something that light at the end of the tunnel, so that you're focusing more on when you're finished and getting it done than like the process of going through the grueling work. I like that. That's good.
And
mine kind of ties. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. John.
No, I keep doing that. Go ahead.
So mine kind of ties into to like the start of what Dave said, where he said like have something just for you. So for content creation, as an example, I have games that I own that I will never stream. Those are just for me. Those are for me. Those are for my enjoyment. Like Red Dead Redemption 2. I've got like 60 hours on that game. I have not streamed a lick of it because it's like when I need a game that I can just play to have fun, that's where I go. Maybe once I'm finished it, I'll stream it, but not a second before that.
Right. So, I have 2 more questions for this session, and I think they're really interesting ones. Kind of different, but kind of along the same idea of working with burnout. Is there anything that these digital platforms, take YouTube and Twitch for example, can do to quell this issue? Because in a way, it's systematic, not by YouTube or Twitch's fault, but just by the nature of how content works. Is there anything that they can even do about this? Can they provide resources? Can they provide a vacation mode built into their, platform? Like, and if so, like, should they, or is this too much of a perfect world? Like, would that be overstepping?
I think that it would be, personally.
Would be overstepping?
Yeah, because we're all kind of, if we're doing this as like a job, we're all like, self-employed. and for them to make like vacation mode or something like that, I don't know, it would be a little too perfect. It would be a little too great. I don't know if we could really incorporate something like that personally. I feel like we kind of just have to work our way around it and just kind of build it from there. Maybe in the future, but I don't know. Maybe not. I'm curious. I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say.
I feel like I agree with it. Like they could give like tips and tricks or say, "Hey, let's put this podcast on Twitch." Go ahead, Twitch. You should do that. But
No, we need a Wii Sports menu, and it's like, you want to go outside? You remember?
Exactly.
It's been a long time.
But I feel like it's since as content creators, like it's more individual, like or for us to do this or deal with this. But they can give us like tips and tricks, or other content creators have dealt with it. But I feel like they couldn't give like an actual resource for it. It's like, check this out if you're feeling this. Like it's a little help thing.
And we have seen some sort of like smaller examples of it, like with Twitch in particular. I think they made it so you're not allowed to be live for more than 48 hours, which is technically that isn't something they've implemented. But I also don't think there's anything that any site could really do, minus be like try to restrict people on how often they're doing something. But at the same time, I don't think they should, because that's detrimental to them. Like if YouTube was like, yeah, you can be a YouTube content creator, but you can only upload twice a week.
Because there's also anomalies with group channels and group accounts and stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think, I think this goes back to also just in general when it comes to mental health and preventing burnout. At the end of the day, it's on you to take care of yourself and to do these practices that are really important. So it's like, even like if it's like a family member, you know, who tells you, hey, you need to not do this so much. At the end of the day, you have to be the one to want it and to do it. So even if YouTube was this guardian that was like, here are the best things, education is really important. I think informing people is so important, because again, there are a lot of people who don't even know burnout's a real thing. Like, you know, educating is really important, but in terms of actually like implementing something that would be required, I think it wouldn't work. It would backfire, because people have to want it themselves or it won't be effective, I think.
I think it can make people too lax, and I am a big believer in, you know, being self-employed is extremely stressful and extremely tolling, but at the end of the day, being self-employed, you're going to work more hours than anyone else, and you are going to have the most rewarding job.
Gotta earn it.
And you gotta earn it. So I agree with that. And I was very interested to hear if anyone would think if there's anything that they can do, because I really don't think that there's I don't think there's much. Like, it's kind of, this is just the environment that we work in, and it's up to us to to get good. So with that, I have one more question. I know, Dave, you have a 1 o'clock thing.
Yeah, it's okay.
so
We can.
We got one more, boy.
Yeah.
So this is probably the most one of the most complicated questions. How can you adjust your content strategy? It's very specific to content creators. How can you adjust your content strategy to both satisfy your mental health needs, but also your professional endeavors? So this is really important for like your A drives of the world. You know, like your Shady Penguins. You know, countless people do this full time, and not only are full time, but like they have a house or, you know, kids, you know, a family, car, like so many things riding on this. How can you balance your content, the professional with the personal at that point, when it gets so embedded in your life that, like, if you did not stream for 2 weeks, or if you do take, you know, if you do something wrong for 3 weeks, then like you're getting a pay cut, you know? This is this is probably the hardest question of the podcast, I feel like.
I have a stab. Similar to some of these strategies we were talking about with like overcoming, I think it's really important to find separating factors, regardless of whatever they are. You know, don't put everything into your content. And it's complicated because I saw a couple of psych studies or something where, you know, a lot of influencers now, you know, to gain that online trust, you put a lot of yourself out there, but it almost like mixes up your identities, because I think there's like an identity theory. There's something really cool where essentially you have different identities when you talk to your friends, when you talk to your significant others, when you're alone by yourself. You have a different just personality, who you are, and it differs slightly. But when you do content creation, a lot of times it gets mixed up because, you know, your job personality is mixing with that personal one that you have. And I think finding ways to separate that is so important so that you don't, you know, fall into this loop of everything mixing up together. Then your work stress doesn't affect when you're off the clock. You know what I mean? So finding different ways. And if that means, you know, making sure once or twice a week you do something like with just your family, like a family night, like disconnect from social media, whatever you can do, find like tangible things that you can be like, this is a personal thing I do, this is a work thing that I do.
Yeah, I think that's great, and that separation is so incredibly important. I know just from like, you know, the little that I do see, you know, let's say like A-Drive, for example, I know like he has some days where like he'll just be like, you know, I'm not gonna be on social media today, I'm going like I'm going to a Met game, or like, you know, it's Daddy Dallas Day, or like whatever the case may be. I feel like, oh my goodness, making that differentiation clear in your head is really important, and almost make it like a 9-to-5 job where you're like, I am going to wake up at this time, I'm going to stream at this time, and I'm going to stop at this time. I'm going to make a Twitter post, and then I'm not going to work for the rest of the day. You know, and then you have your grind seasons, like when a game comes out, and then you go crazy for 3 weeks. And then you maybe get burnt out. But, but generally, for a lot of the year, I feel like that's a good approach. Does anyone have anything else with that?
I literally wrote down, it's going to be really hard to do, but remember, don't bring your work home with you, even though you work from home.
Yeah.
I like that.
I like that a lot.
That's
too.
a great thing. That's a great way to sum it up. Elliot, Dave, got anything? Or
I think that as far as things go, I definitely agree with Steph. You got to kind of differentiate, you know, your personal side to your, you know, professional side. Fusing them into streaming can be nice because, you know, you want to be yourself whenever you stream. But then there's also the point where you need to make sure that this is something that you need to make yourself, you know, seem professional. You need to make yourself seem like, I need to grow. I need to make sure that I can do this. And especially if you're doing this full time, if you're like the A-Drive, Shitty Penguins of the world, who has a family, house, all that kind of stuff, writing off content creation, you need to make sure that you're good to go. You got to make sure that you are not going to do anything that may mess up your whole entire career. Because, you know, one little thing could spark a whole entire fire. And you got to make sure that you stay consistent with it. You know, you've seen Ninja, you know, he built off everything, and sure, his sub count is lower than, you know, it was last year, but at the end of the day, he's right now getting all these sponsors. He's right now getting all of these different types of opportunities, traveling. He's able to do just so much. And despite him not being in front of a camera, you know, at his home all the time and not being able to stream all the time, he's still getting all these opportunities despite all that. He's still thriving off of other things that he's getting because of opportunities from different sponsors and different networks and different, you know, people that he's interacting with and all that kind of stuff. So he's still creating whatever kind of revenue he can make, and, you know, some you know, Red Bull and all those type of things that he's sponsored with, they're all helping him out.
Walmart.
You know, Walmart, you know, you see all these types of you know, things that he's getting sold as far as, like, you know, merchandise goes. Like, you see him everywhere. He's like making a big impact on, you know, Twitch and content creation in general. So it's pretty awesome. And it kind of builds an opportunity for other things too. Despite him not being in front of a camera, despite his sub numbers not being what they used to be, he's still growing and thriving despite all that. So just kind of finding different opportunities can also help too. Also, just want to point out, last time that you guys can ask questions. So if you guys have any questions,
jump into the Q&A, guys.
Make sure you guys tweet us questions. Make sure in the tweet that you @Elite4TV and use #IP whenever you ask the question.
So what?
I was gonna say, just to add on just a little bit more, just to piggyback off what GalacticElliot said. Basically just finding more opportunities. Don't get stuck in just doing one thing. Like, if you're doing it full time, it's like, all right, I'm great at streaming. What else can you do in addition to that? Or what else can bring revenue? Like, you know, like you said about Ninja Sub, Ninja could have been like, you know, I don't want to travel, I just want to stream and that's it, and make the sub a revenue.
Merch.
But by him doing merch and getting sponsors and streaming just a little less, he has multiple forms and more consistent forms. So just being able to look into different opportunities, try different things,
yeah,
and
just
be
getting
open.
experience. And I think, Dave, I saw like on Twitter, like you tried out for like that GameStop position. Like just the
Exactly.
fact that you did that is amazing and really motivated me too. Like I saw that on Twitter being like, wow, you're
Ally
chasing
went
what
for the
you
Twitch
want.
position
Yeah,
and got
Ally,
it in San
Ally
Francisco.
works for Twitch now. It's like, try it. You know, I saw this on Twitter too. It's like, the worst thing that can happen is they say no. But,
Exactly.
you know, why not, you know, just try, you know, see.
Exactly. And just to give a little bit more background on the GameStop thing, it was funny how they came to me for it. They actually found, you all see me at different PAXs and I always bring my camera and record.
Yeah.
I was just doing that just for my viewers so they can see like, hey, this is a game dev, this is cool. So I just made videos. One of them stumbled upon it. You know, like I didn't think anyone would see like the little interviews I make just for the Twitch stream. So you
Right.
never know. By trying something different, it might lead to another future opportunity. So just try.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and you know, I want to tie this into something that I actually learned this past week. I might misquote it slightly, but it was from an old Steve Jobs interview actually. And in terms of pushing for your passion and trying to achieve things, there are so many people around you that are willing to help, more willing than you may think. And these are the two words that I definitely remember for sure. Just ask. Just ask. Ask the people around you. You know, first of all, worst case scenario is, like we said, you know, they say no, they can't help, they're busy, whatever. But there are a lot of people around you that you could ask them something and they may be able to help more than you think. Just asking help from a friend or a family member or someone close to you, you know, that can go a long way. So just ask. And that goes into the burnout because you get help from other people and then they may go to you for help. And it's a circle and you build your own support circle. And that's, I feel like, really big with, you know, with burnout as well. You know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So with that,
I like that.
With that being said, I think we can move on to, I think we have 2 Twitter questions. If anyone wants to throw in any more,
Refresh it to see if we've got a few more.
this is your opportunity.
You guys
have a
have any
question.
specific questions that we have not already addressed?
Yes. We have a question from Techno Dragon. You want to read that out, Steph?
I got this. How do you approach the issue of viewers expecting too much from you and wanting you to output content all the time, getting upset when you don't produce? Hope I'm making sense. That makes a lot of sense. Do not worry. Do not worry. It's a good question.
Well, I'll hop in for that one because, you know, I used to do like Pokemon, like, you know, I streamed daily 6 hours a day, used to do 8 hours a day, and it was only Pokemon. And then, like, initially when I started doing different games, why aren't you doing Pokemon? Where's that at? And, like, in most of those streams, I would do Pokemon the first 4 hours, last 4 hours for just kind of trust different things. And they would be upset. I think, honestly, the best way to say for that is, like, you gotta do ultimately what makes you happy at the end of the day. Like, they can be upset at me. I'm like, I'm sorry, I need to look out for Dave right now. And I feel like I have fun doing this and that. So just doing the content you want to produce and you want to create. And if they're mad at it, it's like, well, I can name plenty of other streamers right now streaming Pokemon or whatever game you want to see. You know, you can just come back later when I'm doing that content. So it's ultimately doing what makes you happy. Because if you force yourself to do content and make that creation, people will notice. They'll be like, hey, he's not that happy that day. Well, I'm doing this because you're upset at me. You know, just hypothetically, please don't do it because of you is upset. But just in that case.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I feel like I always say this. We do content for the viewers, but we also do it for ourselves because we enjoy it. We love the games we play. We love what we do. Like, we don't just do it for the people that watch. We also do it because we like it. If you tell us, oh, we're going to love if you do this, it doesn't mean that we're going to love it as creators just because you do. And vice versa. Sometimes I may want to play a game and I know I'm going to have like a quarter of the viewers I may normally have because, you know, whenever I want to play like a game like Mother 3, you know, a game that's not very popular, not many people know about it. I love it so much. It's one of my favorite games of all time. I had like 30 people watching me play it and I was so passionate to just show those 30 people that are there how much I love this game. I don't care how many people are there. I wanted to just show them how much I love it and just maybe have a few of them play it with me, if anything else. And like, at the end of the day, some people may say, hey, why aren't you playing Pokemon? I'm just like, because I want to play Mother 3. And I know I'm going to have more people playing Pokemon, but maybe I want to play something else that's going to cater to me more than something else may. And just because a viewer may say, oh, like, you know, I may enjoy this more, it doesn't mean that we will, it doesn't mean that others may either. And like Dave said, forceful content's the worst content. You want to do something because you love it, and if you don't feel like doing it, don't do it.
Elliot, when's the next Simpsons Hit and Run stream?
What do you mean the next? I never did one.
I don't want to see one.
Oh my god, shut up.
I think the big thing is people who are going to be still upset after you explain, because there's nothing wrong with if someone's asking because maybe they only like to watch Pokemon. So if they ask, hey, are you planning on doing any more Pokemon? Or if that's their way of asking that and they get really like upset, they're not going to bring value to your community if they're going to be not understanding and, you know, be just a part of your community and like appreciate you for what you're doing. Like, it's okay for them to not be into your content anymore, but if people are going out of their way to be angry and upset, like, it's just not something you want to put so much onto yourself, because it's not going to help you grow. It's going to keep you down, you know?
The key to me, in addition to remembering, like, thinking of yourself, reminding yourself why you do it, and everything that everyone said is, you know, communicate that. Try and tell the people, like, hey, I am just doing this for fun. I'm doing this for this reason or that reason or the other. You don't have to tell people, but it helps.
Right.
And gives people a second chance to kind of think and understand.
You don't owe it to anyone, but it's
you
nice.
don't owe it to anyone, but if you want to try and get that message through them, try it once. If they're still upset, you know, maybe tell them, like, I'm sorry, just maybe another stream is the right one for you, you know?
For me, the hardest...
Soon.
Like,
You go,
For me,
Natty.
the hardest thing I had to learn kind of around this topic was learning just to like be very precise and honest up front, because someone would be like, hey, when are you gonna play Fortnite? And I'd be like, oh, so maybe in the future sometime. I don't know, like maybe. And then like a couple streams later they come in, when are you gonna play Fortnite? I'm like, finally it was just to the point I was like, I'm not gonna play it now. Like, that was the
Sorry.
hardest thing for me, was learning how to just be like, this is what I'm doing, this is why I'm doing it. If you don't like it, go. Like, for me, that was the hardest thing, because like I feel like that's so rude, but at the same time I had to realize that if you don't tell people that, they just keep coming at you. And then it gets to you as a creator and as a person, because like you feel like you're letting people down. So at least if you just tell them no, it's the end of it.
Yeah. So, I think we have one more question. This is actually
One more.
really good. I like this question a lot.
Am I reading it? Okay, I got this.
you read the first one. You got
All right.
it. I believe in you, Steph.
So, Stone Family on Twitter asks, with Pokemon specifically, do you get burnt out with one Pokemon game but can play another over and over without getting burnout? Example, I can play Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald with no burnout, but I get burned out on Diamond, Pearl, Platinum very easily.
I have an answer for this.
Go
Yeah, me
for
too.
it. Go
Yeah,
for it.
So I softly said, Layton, yes, indeed. You can get burned out with Pokemon games with the other. Like, what I used to do when I mainly did shiny hunting is like, you know, if I did soft resets too much, it's like, all right, let's Dex Nav, let's Radar. So switching it up, you know, some methods of hunting are better, not better. Some methods of hunting, that'll be a whole nother conversation. But some methods of hunting are more engaging than others. You know, like some you just, all right, soft reset, hit A. Others, let's move around and actually try to get it. So yeah, I'd say like sometimes I prefer one over the other when it comes to hunting.
Yeah. For me, it's not the game, it's how you play the game. You know, just in the last few years, I've done X and Y so many different ways. I've done X and Y shiny hunting. I've done X and Y with cutthroat Pokemon. I've done X and Y with speed runs. I've done X and Y with a randomizer in a 12-hour stream. I've done X and Y so many times. And, you know, it never gets old because I always find a different way to do it. Even just, there's so many formats that I want to look more into. Like, for example, I know something that Pulse is really into, that Allie's really into, is bingo. Pokemon bingo is a lot of fun. Like, doing bingo races, like, oh, who can get bingo first? And, like, if you guys haven't seen it, it's like a bingo board, and it's like, you know, you randomize your game, and it's like, okay, evolve a Pokemon, or find an Everstone, you know, talk to this person, get a Charcoal, and then see how many you can get. And there are so many ways that you can do this. You can do the Battle Frontier, and actually one of my series on YouTube that I just launched with Purple Cliff is Forgotten Pokemon Challenges, and our goal is to kind of make our own ways to play Pokemon. One of them was beating the Pokemon League with a Phoebus. It was great. So either way, for me, it's not so much the game as it is how I play the game. If I were to just do shiny hunting with all the games, I would get more burnt out than playing one game a bunch of different ways, if that makes sense, you know? So
I may disagree with I mean, not really disagree, but I may see that a little bit differently. I definitely can get burnt out of a game. You definitely can play certain games like multiple times. There are some games that I can play, like Josh said, like X and Y or S. Gen 6 in general is so refreshing because you can do so much in those games. So many shiny hunting methods, wonder trees, so many different types of challenges. So many different types of challenges that you can implement off of what is in the game. And, all these type of things are so entertaining. But then if you play, like something like Let's Go. Let's Go is a good game the first time around. For me, at least. But over time, I definitely do not enjoy playing it. There's only one shiny hunting method that is, you can do, and it's literally standing around until a shiny appears on your screen. It's not fun for me. That's something I want to do. While I can literally only do Dex Nav, and I would have a lot more fun just doing that.
replaying Let's Go sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It has no replayability. I was burnt out of the game after the first time of playing it. I enjoyed the first time. And then whenever me and Josh and Robbie did the Team Rocket try-up on YouTube, I was like, I love these two people. This is the only reason why I want to play this game. This game is not fun to play. It is the worst game to Nuzlocke ever. No. But, I love all the Pokemon games, but Let's Go is a game that I am 100% burnt out of, even after playing it one time. I can play Ultra Sun and Moon for the past 3 years, way more than 1 year of Let's Go, and that's just how it is with me. It's just, that's the game I'm burnt out on.
One day I'll finish Let's Go.
Oof.
It's pretty.
For me, I got really burnt out really quick with Ultra Sun and Moon. And I feel like that's because it was Sun and Moon, again, that I had to play through 3 times to get all of my copies caught up. And I couldn't do it. I couldn't. Like, I find myself that I can return to the older generations, like from Gen 6 down, over and over again without getting burnt out. But like Gen 7 plus Let's Go, I can't. Like, I have to be in a mood to touch them.
Right. Yeah. So, either way, I think that that pretty much closes things out really nicely. Those were some really good questions. I know this this isn't a topic that really invites questions as easily because it's not as like speculative and
it's a more complicated.
It's a more complicated issue, but
I mean, we already addressed everything.
Yeah. Those were 2 really good questions.
Thank you.
Either way, does anyone want to say anything before we're actually going to do a raid, and I'll do some closing remarks after as well. Go once, going twice.
Thank you guys.
Thanks for being here.
It's great.
Cool.
Thank you guys so much. If you guys were confused at all during this, the Indigo Plateau, that is the name of our podcast that is hosted by the Elite Four. The Elite Four is a Twitch team. If you guys don't know what a Twitch team is, it is pretty much a group of people with some kind of a common goal. Our goal is to make Pokemon content, bring people together, make friends, and make cool content. And lots of other things. We all like Pokemon, and that's the common bond. And we do this podcast once a month. If you guys want to see the other 2, they're on my YouTube channel, !YouTube. So far, I've done the State of the Pokemon Community, Pokemon Sword and Shield, Hopes and Expectations, and this is our 3rd one. So if you want to go back and watch the other ones, they are online. And we have different people on every time because the team is right now with 16 people, and we rotate people in and out to get some different perspectives. So either way, go and follow everyone that is here. Rich, if you still have the copy paste with everyone's links, that would be great. But go follow everyone. Like I said, they all do lots of streams and stuff. With that being said, I feel like we could do some kind of a raid message that involves like a burn heal.
Oh my god.
I like that.
You're gonna need a burn heal or something. Maybe.
I'm down.
Let's see. Who should we?
Also, I just want to say, I really enjoy being a part of this, and I really enjoyed hearing your guys' perspectives, because I love hearing what other people have to say and think. It kind of changes my view on some things, and I hope that the people watching also felt this way. Like, I've been doing content for over a decade, and hearing your guys' points really kind of made me feel refreshed. Just hearing ways to like kind of overcome it. I didn't think of some of these things. So just thank you guys for having me on this, and thank you guys for giving me these like pointers. I really
feel so refreshed after these podcasts. Like I feel like a new person.
You guys are so wholesome. It's cute.
You're wholesome.
I thought I was the salty old woman on the team.
No.
We're a family. So All right, what do we do with the burn heal? Should we do a burn heal message? What should we do?
I think I like this message personally.
Oh, I like that.
Yes. Yo, anyone
Let's
with an
do
A
it.
drive sub. I'm actually going to do Galactic Rage for mine because of the. Actually, I'm gonna do
Get some
JPP
flames.
Rage.
Get some flames up in the message.
Guys, use a
if you guys have
flame
any.
if you.
Ooh, the flames. I like that.
I'm gonna use JPP Rage. You guys can just use like the flame emoji on like iPhone or
Curse
whatever. Or Fire.
No, curse.
Yeah, curse slit.
Curse
If you're
Lit
not
is the one.
subscribed to
Oh,
any channel,
yeah.
use curse slit.
Yes. Oh my god, yes. I'll copy paste that as well. All right, Natty has it. There you go. Chat's moving too
There
fast.
we go. Copy
All right, guys.
and paste Natty's message. We're gonna go on a raid.
We
Woo!
always try to raid people that are on the team, since it is a team podcast. So we are going to be raiding Pokemon Cast, who's part of a massive TCG, which is of course part of the Pokemon franchise marathon with Purple Cliff and K Cray. It is a massive marathon. It is awesome. Go drop them a follow. Also, K Cray and Purple Cliff, close friends of the E4. Go and support them. With that being said, thank you guys. Thank you everyone that was on this podcast. Thank you for joining us. We love you all so dearly, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Peace.
See ya.